President Bola Tinubu has sworn in retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as Rivers State's sole administrator. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice defended the president's decision, saying suspended Governor Fubara's actions left no alternative. Now, the government is rejecting accusations that it is using the crisis to sideline political opponents and could replicate it in other states. Adesua Omoruwan here reports.
The crisis in Rivers State has been simmering since late 2023, when a dispute between Governor Sim Fubara and lawmakers loyal to his predecessor, now the FCT minister, led to the demolition of the State Assembly complex. Now, barely 24 hours since President Bola Tinubu declared emergency rule, the Attorney General of the Federation has dismissed claims that the president was hasty in his decision. He argues that the Supreme Court had ruled that the governor was in breach of the Constitution and that the situation had reached a breaking point.
I will ask rather rhetorically, when do you think should have come? When everything has collapsed? No. The law envisages that you come in when there is present imminent danger to the security of lives and property. People who are killing themselves. It's no longer news. It's not a question of making up the story. We all read papers every day. You know, if he had waited maybe a day longer, only God knows what would have followed.
Fagemi also rejects claims that the decision favors the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. He warns that similar actions will be taken in states where governance collapses.
Where do you put the Minister of FCT in this case? Was he the one who asked for the demolition of the House of Assembly? Was he the one who said the governor should not present his budget to the House of Assembly? Was he the one who advised the governor not to go through the House of Assembly for purposes of ratifying the commissioner nominees? I don't know, because if you want to look at a case, you look at the facts that have been presented. The Supreme Court made these critical findings. FCT minister did not feature. Let the signal be clearly sent for those who want to foment trouble, who want to make the practice of democracy and enjoyment of dividend of democracy a mirage, to think twice. So, it is Rivers State's turn today. It can be anybody's turn tomorrow.
The government says security situation in the state also justified the intervention, accusing the governor of enabling militants to attack oil installations.
There were what I would call telegraphing of the militants, I would say by the governor. And the reason I said so was when he beckoned to them that, he would let them know when it was time to act, to the militants. Let us say it was wrong. Did he come out to disown them? The answer is no. And a week after, they swung into action.
The emergency rule suspends the governor, his deputy, and the State Assembly for 6 months, with an administrator taking charge. Fagemi calls it a temporary fix, arguing impeachment would have removed the governor and his deputy permanently. He also says those opposing the decision should take their case to the National Assembly, which must approve the president's move, while confirming that seized state funds would be released if requested by the administrator.
I, Vice Admiral retired Ibok Ete Ibas, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will be...
Meanwhile, President Tinubu swiftly swore in retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as sole administrator of Rivers State. After the ceremony, Ibas pledged to work with stakeholders to restore stability.
If the main issue is that of maintaining law and order in the state, I think for any meaningful activities to take place in Rivers State, that is the utmost task that I have, to work together with all other stakeholders to ensure that we bring peace, order, and security and stability to the people and government of Rivers State and Nigeria at large.
While critics call it a political power grab, the government insists it was a necessary decision to restore order and prevent a constitutional crisis. From the presidential villa, Adesua, Omorwan, Arise News.
And in a surprise turn of events, the Senate was silent on the emergency rule in Rivers, avoiding deliberation on the matter on Wednesday, despite listing it as the first order of the day. The House of Representatives also did not entertain the matter. It was later revealed that the matter could not be taken in both houses because the lawmakers could not form the required quorum to get a 2/3 vote.
The day it had the proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State listed on the order paper, the Senate looks unusually troubled, starting plenary rather late than normal. It soon became clear that the Senate was in frantic search for numbers to push through the proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State. And when it wasn't likely, due to having only about 70 lawmakers in the chamber out of 109, Senate Leader Opemi Bamidele pushed that the motion earlier placed as the first order of the day be stepped down.
What is listed as the first order of the day be stood down to enable us consider the second order of the day, and I make the motion. I move the motion pursuant to Order 1B of our rules, and if that is seconded and carried, that what is listed as the second order be now deemed to be the first order of the day.
The proclamation request by President Bola Tinubu was then stepped down till 3 p.m. to buy time to rally more senators to make up the required 2/3 number, especially in the face of a strong determination by some PDP senators to frustrate the move.
The motion has been moved and seconded that the first order of the day should be stepped down to 3 p.m. to enable us to consider other issues. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate then went about other routine tasks, including confirmation of various appointments. One lawmaker later informed journalists that the Senate would now deliberate the matter on Thursday.
The Senate has given room for more members who is not aware of this yesterday, but got to know about it today, to be able to come tomorrow and hear their views. Democracy is about numbers. It's about participation. So what we are saying is that we can adjourn it tomorrow in order to give room for more people to come. We formed quorum today. 68 people were signed the register. If you now accept 17 leaders of the Senatorate, we are more than a quorum. We could as well go on. But we don't want to say, oh, it was 3 o'clock they brought it, when members are already praying, they are fasting, and then there were not many people on the floor. That's the time they passed the proclamation. No.
At the House of Representatives, tension had erupted earlier after lawmakers clashed over the emergency declaration in Rivers State. Despite expectations of a vote on the matter on the floor, lawmakers say President Bola Tinubu had yet to say the Gazette, and as such, plenary had to be adjourned, pushing the debate to Thursday as the 48-hour window constitutionally required nears its close.
So the 48 hours is safe, so we're still within the time frame. So let's see what happens tomorrow, and then we can take it off from there.
It means the parliament has not taken any position, and if not until it is debated, there is nothing we can do about it for now. So for us as a parliament, it is still the same way Nigerians have seen it on the pages of newspaper. Even though yesterday the leadership of the parliament was invited to the villa, but officially Mr. Speaker has not communicated that to the floor. Yes.
A 2/3 majority of both chambers of the National Assembly is required to ratify the proclamation of the state of emergency, like the one placed on Rivers State. With a new administrator already sworn in for Rivers State, All eyes are on Thursday's session to see how senators and House of Representatives members will respond. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
All right, for the very latest out of River State, let's cross live to Port Harcourt and speak with our correspondent, Andy Omano. Andy, you've been on ground in River State. You've been going around. You've been speaking to people about this development. Can you just update us on the mood of the state? How were the activities of the day in the state yesterday or in Port Harcourt? Were people going about their regular businesses? Were kids going to school? Were offices open? Was the market open? What's the general mood of the state right now?
Well, thank you so much. Good morning for having us again. This is day 2 of the declaration of emergency rule in River State by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The situation all through yesterday was calm, very calm situation. Just that people were on the edge. Earlier in the morning yesterday, which was Wednesday, the roads, human and vehicular traffic was a little bit reduced up until around 12:12, when people who obviously would have listened to the news that broke the previous day got a hand that it is not going to be what was rumored. Because the rumor before yesterday morning was that by tomorrow morning, military personnel will take over the streets of Port Harcourt. Remember, that was what was aired yesterday, but nothing of that happened. We drove through all parts of Port Harcourt yesterday, precisely the government house. We were there around the government house axis of town, whether the main gate leading into government house or the second gate from the back into the complex. There were no sign of military men there, except for a handful of police officers who were there to do their normal duty as it were. And so, as at this morning, I must report that the situation is still the way it was yesterday. There's been no report of anything untoward, but everybody is waiting and watching and getting linked to different radio platforms and television stations to know what will happen. The discussion here is if the administrator who has been sworn in yesterday in Abuja by Mr. President is going to resume today, and if the National Assembly is going to ratify the declaration of emergency rule in River State when they do meet today again. So the situation,
Andy,
to be precise, is untouched. Yes.
All right, we have a story that a state high court in Rivers State ruled that the administrator sworn in by the president cannot take over. That's the long and short of that particular ruling. Do you have an update on that?
Yes, that was the ruling as at yesterday, but of course, if the Senate does, if the National Assembly does sit today and ratify or did not, that is when we'll know where we are going as a state and as a people, as it were. The pronouncement has been made, Charles. If a court has pronounced and we get a different vibe in the afternoon, probably it will be hasty to decide if that is still going to stand. But I think all we need to do is to wait between now and the afternoon when the National Assembly would sit down. Like you rightly said, it's a court pronouncement that has been on, and between when this crisis broke and when the emergency rule was eventually declared by Mr. President, there's been a lot of court pronouncements at the junctions. Charles.
Andy Omano, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak, and thank you for bringing us updates from River State. I'm sure we'll see you on all the other bulletins throughout the day here on Arise News.